Hello there, Rabbi. How are you doing today? I see by the eruption behind you that we are on the mount again, collecting the latest in our series, The Ten Commandments. What is going on with those things? And here we are at number three, as Carly Simon said, do not take the name of the Lord in vain. Is that the right one? Have I got that right?
We have it. It's Exodus 20 for those of you watching and listening. So don't be concerned with whose version it is. Let's go to the original, Exodus chapter 20.
When I was in school, there was a whole bunch of lateral movement on this commandment because the nuns would say, anytime you swear, whether you say the Lord's name or not, you are breaking that commandment. It was used to teach us not to use bad language.
This has been one of my constant presentations is people adding to religion, to what Jesus said, what Moses said, what's written in the Holy Scripture for their own ends and goals, rather than going back to the original. What does it say? And I think it's really good because we can look back at Greek scripture, Hebrew scripture to see what it actually says rather than what somebody said, somebody said, somebody said. It's very straightforward. God's personal name, Yud He Vav He, is not to be used in an oath, in a vow, or in any way. Don't use God's personal name. That's what it says. Look it up. It's there in the Hebrew. And we can't even pronounce it. So this is the only commandment that's impossible to break because Yud He Vav He is mispronounced as Yahweh. That's not how it's pronounced. Jehovah, that's not how it's pronounced. It can't be pronounced because the combination of letters of consonants and vowels makes it unpronounceable. And sometimes it's referred to as the unpronounceable name. We talk about the tetragrammaton, four-lettered name. And often in Judaism, we substitute Adonai, or we'll just say Hashem, the name. When we want to refer to God's personal name, since we're forbidden to pronounce it, and we can't pronounce it. Nothing to do with foul language. God was in the Navy. God's heard it all. You're not going to hurt his feeling by swearing. But that's a different question. The sisters were correct. In public society, we should watch our language. We shouldn't use vile or obscene language. We shouldn't call in political speeches or in emails, we shouldn't accuse a candidate by using a known swear word to refer to that other person. Just not a nice thing to do. It's disrespectful, and it doesn't help us get to the issue because you're defocusing. What I want to do, Joe, is separate etiquette from the commandment. And this is really a good example of misusing the commandment for, if not personal gain, for promoting a specific agenda. And that's something I brought up over and over again. And clergy are guilty to the nth degree of using Greek scripture and Hebrew scripture, the teachings of our prophets, for personal gain, to get another jet plane, to build a building, to get invited somewhere, to support a political candidate. This is just another example, and this one commandment is a perfect example of it being used for other. Now, your sisters used it for a good end, as I mentioned, in polite company, in any company. There's no reason for vulgarities. There's no reason for belittling people. But make no mistake, our commandment is very explicit. Thou shalt not use God's personal name in an oath. You shall not use God's personal name just throwing it out. And a good example is people refer to me as rabbi or chaplain. Even people I know don't like to use my first name because they consider it disrespectful. If using my personal name is disrespectful, how much the more so using God's personal name would be disrespectful. And so that's our commandment. Let's respect God by not throwing his name around, and let's be careful in our public and private speech, how we refer to other people and language that we use. It's just not very becoming, Joe.